Hello there, and welcome to the third edition of the Norton Live Builds. Over a total of 6 episodes, we're building our own Norton Live backlit sign. Just to give you an idea of what we're actually going to produce over these 6 episodes, we've got a little 3D diagram for you. Martin, would you just show people what we're going to be making over these live builds? So there you go. It's a big item, which you'll see later on, made of carbon steel. We're going to have 2 different types of finishes on there, one brushed and one polished. And we're going to cut out the Norton letters and the Live logo so we can backlit them and stick it on the wall, have it looking very, very nice indeed. Let's hope so anyway. So, okay, so before we start today's stream, before we get into the meat of what we're going to be doing today, I want to pass you over to Martin, who's directing this live stream today, to give you show you how you can interact with us today here at Norton. Martin, over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and yeah, thank you very much, Paul. As Paul said, we have foreign language subtitles, which I'll get on screen for you just now.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
They're available if you're watching on our website. So if you'd like to watch the subtitles in your chosen language, just head over to our website. The URL is on screen now, and we've got, I think, 16 to choose from.
It's quite a few.
It is indeed, Paul, yeah. So after that, we'll be finishing today's stream with a Q&A session. Hang on, I just can't find the right button there. Hang on one second. There we go.
Fingers and thumbs today, Martin.
Indeed, mate. Indeed. Yeah. So you can ask your question by using hashtag RazorStarLive on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and if you're watching on our website, you can use X to get your message across to us right here in the studio. So, Paul, with that, it is back over to you.
Great stuff. Thank you for that, Martin. So, yeah, please get involved in the stream. Pop your questions on. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so today's session, we're going to be concentrating on weld prep and deburring and sharp edge removal or edge breaking, as it's also known. But before we actually get into really doing this application, let's have a quick recap of the story so far. Martin, could you run VT, please?
Yeah, I can do. But
you can. It may be a little bit of a delay.
I can normally, but yeah, the video is currently refusing to work, so I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Bear with me.
So you just love live TV.
It's not stressful at all, is it?
No.
Right. Okay. Here we go. I think.
So what we've done so far. Okay, so a technical issue why we can't play the video. Maybe we can have a look at that later in the stream. But anyway, I can tell you what exactly we've done to this. So we started off with a large piece of carbon steel, about 3 millimeters thick. We descaled it, so took all the scale off the surface of that using our RazorStar fiber disc. After that, we surface conditioned that with our Vortex Rapid Prep in extra coarse to give it this nice shiny finish you can see in front of you here. So all the scale's gone. We've took the surface scratch down to a nice level now to enable us to get the finishes we're going to have later on. Over the last weeks, we've actually now cut out the letters, as you can see in front of us, so we can go overhead, please, Martin.
Well, I was just going to say, Paul, actually, I think I've got the video working.
Oh, you have?
If you want to watch it, we can.
Yeah, well, why not? Let's have a quick look.
Maybe. Let's give it a go, shall we?
One last try.
Okay, no, I'm going to give up totally on that video, Paul.
I think it makes sense to give up on that as well.
Yes.
But yeah, nice try. So over the last few weeks, we've actually been cutting out these letters. You see, we did the T with you guys on session 2 of the live streams, but I've continued to cut the whole rest of this sheet out with the Norton logo and the Live logo. So it's been quite a bit of work, and we've done all of this with a cutting disc. So I think you can see if we zoom in a little bit on some of the letters here, you can see the condition of what we've got. So it looks great from a distance, but when you actually come up a little bit closer, you can see the issues with doing this with a cutting disc. I mean, it's very efficient and fast to get it done, but you do end up with a few problems from that. First of all is what we call the overcutting. So you see here on these areas, such as the R on here, you can see an extra bit of cut where we've gone over where we should have done. And that's inevitable. You know, you can't really avoid this doing this. We did cut it from the back side of the sheet, so we were using cutting from the other side to minimize the amount of overcut we've got, but we still have got these overcuts, which we will sort out when we're doing the welding process later on. But also you can see there's a lot of burrs and a lot of sharp edges on these letters. And this we must remove because, well, there's two reasons why we need to get rid of these burrs and sharp edges. Thank you, Martin. That's a perfect zoom in on there. You can see all these burrs hanging up, all this loose material. Obviously, that's not very nice. It's not good. It's not safe to be there, first of all, because it will cut you if you touch this without your hand with a glove on there. But also, you know, besides the safety issue, there's an issue with you know, applying a coating to this carbon steel. If we don't break the edge and round the edge of this carbon steel, so what I mean, we've got a 90-degree edge now with a burr on. If we don't actually remove that burr and then smooth the edge over to a slight radius, what happens when we try to paint or put lacquer on this, which we do intend to do later to stop it rusting, what happens when you do, that point there has a very thin layer of paint or lacquer, and therefore in the future it's more likely to corrode. Okay, so by putting a radius on there, you increase the amount of paint that can stick on that sharp edge because you've rounded it, and therefore it will resist corrosion well, much better than it would if it was not done. Okay, so a lot of different products we're going to be using today. So first of all, let's have a look at the tools. We're going to be using an angle grinder, first of all, to do the major deburring with a couple of products. After that, we're going to be using a straight shaft machine with a burr to get into the internal areas. And then for the flat internal areas, we're going to be using our Norton file belt machine as well. Okay, so that's the tools we're going to be using today. And I'll talk about the products as we go through each step of these applications. Okay, so I think we should move swiftly on to the first application, and that is removing the sharp edges of the steel where we've cut. The steel sheet was actually bigger before, so we had about another 20 centimeters on either side of this steel sheet. We'll actually cut that off now to, first of all, to reduce the weight of the sign because we're going to wall mount this, and it was pretty heavy. So we've cut that off to make it a bit smaller, so it's a little bit more manageable. But I think if you can zoom in on the corner here, Martin, we can see the issue we've got. You see, we've got quite a heavy burr on here, a lot of sharp edges, and obviously I need to round it. So quite a bit of work to do on here to get that surface nice and smooth, nice and rounded, and get rid of all that extra material we do not want. Okay, so the product of choice for that is, of course, is going to be the angle grinder. Okay, so it'll get the work done very fast. It's a portable tool, so I can move along the edge and get it nice and smooth. So you say, what product would I use for that? I could use a multitude of products for this, to be honest. I could look at fiber discs. I could look at even grinding discs, although they would be maybe a little bit too aggressive. But for applications like this on an edge, I tend to prefer to use a flat disc. Okay, so that's what product we're talking about here. So as you can see, we've got the flat disc of choice in front of us here now. I'm going to go for our Norton Quantum flat disc, so it's a fully ceramic flat disc. And yeah, okay, so I've chosen a flat disc, but in the US, well, what grit size should I use? Oh, well, that's pretty simple. You can use a 36 grit or a 40 grit, no problem at all. But sometimes you may even want to use a 60 grit, you know, so you may want to use a coarser grit on your machine. So it's really up to you. How careful do you want to be with it? How quick do you want to get the job done? So today, I could use a 60 grit, but we've got limited on time, so I'm going to go for the 40 grit on the machine in front of us today, just to get it done as quick as we possibly can. So let's get the disc mounted on the machine and begin. Okay, so get that on there, on the flange, tighten it up. And ensure your power's off while you're doing this, by the way, which I have done. So that's nice and tight on there. Let's turn the power on. Okay, we're ready to go. All my PPE on as well, guys. So I have ear defenders, flameproof overalls, my safety shoes, and my eye protection here as well with my full-faced helmet. So I'm going to move round to the front here because I have the same to do on the back of this sheet too, but it's going to be very difficult for you to see with the camera angles what I'm doing over the back of the sheet here. So I'm going to do the operation on the front of the sheet to give you a better idea of what I'm going to do today. So okay, let's get on the grind. I'm going to use kind of like a 45-degree angle on here to get rid of the burrs, after which I'm going to go along the very edge of the material as well, just to make it nice and smooth, because obviously we will be carrying this later on when we're trying to mount it on the wall. I'm also going to take off this corner as well. So we have a very sharp 90-degree corner here, which is not ideal, because obviously, you know, bumping past this, it's not very ergonomic. So I'm going to round that corner and make it much safer. Right, so let's get on with deburring the straight edge. Okay. Okay, so I think you can see that's done that pretty quick. We've taken off all that burr, all the sharp edge on there from where the cutting disc was. But now we're going to do the corner here. Okay, show you how quickly we can do that with a flat disc. Okay, so as you can see, that's done that pretty damn quick. That's just what we wanted to see. So what we've done now, we've taken off the sharp edge. We've now got a nice round corner on there as well now. What I'd like to see now is just to blend that a little bit, because we've got quite a coarse scratch on there. Okay, so it'd be just nice to blend that scratch away and get it even smoother, so it feels great when you run your finger along there, so there's no chance of damaging your hands on there as well. Also, if we're going to paint or lacquer it, it will look a lot better as well. So to do that, I'm going to use our Vortex Rapid Blend 5AM product. Okay, so this is the unitized product with our Vortex grain inside. So it gives you a little bit of cut and a little bit of blend in the same product all at one time. So it will remove the scratches that we've got there. It also gives us a really, really nice finish on that corner. Right, so let's get that on the machine. And turn the power on. Okay, so, get a lot of questions about these kind of products, these unitized discs, and what speed to run them at, all right? Yeah, I mean, it's probably better with a product is to turn, if you have a variable speed grinder like I have here, to turn it down a little bit. It just works a little bit better when you have it on slow speed. No problem to run it on high speed, although you will wear the disc away a little bit quicker than normal. But I prefer to turn the speed down a little bit. So I'm going to turn that down to speed 4 on this machine. So maximum speed is 12,000. Speed 4 is about 7,000 to 8,000 RPM. So just to knock the speed down a little bit gives me more control and gives me more life for the product too. Right, so let's do the same again and blend away the scratch that you can see on the edge here. I didn't turn the power on. Again, my normal trick. There we go. So I think you can see that's done quite a nice job of doing that now. So, I mean, even if I take my glove off, I can run my fingers along here with no issues at all. That's perfectly smooth. So I'm not going to catch anybody. Nobody's going to get caught on the corner. It's lovely. Feels very, very, very nice to the touch. Obviously, I can't do that with these areas here because they're still super sharp. All right, super sharp. So, okay, so we've done the edges on the edges of the sheet with the flap disc and the Vortex 5EM. Now it's time to have a look how we smooth the edges on the actual letters themselves. Okay, so there's a lot of work to do here. I'm not going to do all of these letters here today because it will take me a good 20 or 30 minutes just for these. So I'm just going to select maybe the letter R, maybe the letter O to do for us today. So just to keep the flow of the live stream a little bit quicker. Okay, so to do that, again, I could use a flap disc to start with, but I think it's a little aggressive for this because we're only going to take off the little lip on this flat surface. And again, I'm going to lean on our non-woven product, our Vortex 5AM, to do that because, as I said before, it has a little bit of cut, a little bit of finish, all in the one product. And it can take these burrs off and not create any damage because the finish we want to get on here is a mirror or a linear scratch finish on this part of the item. If I start putting more scratches into the surface now, I've got to remove them later. So I want to be nice and gentle, and this product is absolutely perfect for that application. Right, let's go on to deburring. Okay, so that's got rid of all of those surface burrs on these letters. Now it's reasonably smooth to touch on the top there. I wouldn't do that without my glove because there's still lots of sharp edges internally now. Okay, so all the where the wheel came through from the backside through this way, it caused a lip, and now that's gone. I can feel that's very smooth there. No lip on there at all. But obviously, to get inside here, I can't use an angle grinder. Okay, it's too big. The tool's too big. It's just not going to get in there comfortably. I could do some small parts of it, but it's not going to be easy to control that machine in such a small area. You could snag one part of the metal, and it could end up being hard to control. And that's not one thing you really need with an angle grinder. You need to be in full control of this machine at all times. So we will use something different to that. Instead of the angle grinder, we're going to use the file belt machine as we have here with our R929 belt on there. Thank you for the graphic there, Martin. So R929 is a ceramic belt specifically designed for file belts. So even with its strong backing on here, it's designed to turn around these small contact wheels we have on a file belt sounder. Again, I could go with a coarse grade P40 for this to get the job done quicker, but it's a very minimal amount of material I need to remove on here. So I'm actually going to use a P60 for that. Just going to get the job done quickly, but not leave too much of a scratch. And also, there's a lot of straight edges on here. So if I go for a more aggressive belt, it's possible that I could actually start removing too much material on the straight lines and not keep that nice straight line that we've had from the cutting disc too. Okay, so let's get this plugged in. Excuse me, I do have a little bit of a cold at the moment. Not good in this time of the summer here in England. Okay, so we've got that plugged into the pneumatic air supply. So a little safety trigger on here I have to pull down, and then the belt starts to move. So you'll see why we need a product like this, because it's very easy to get this product inside internal areas, such as this R that we've cut out here. It's really easy to pass along here and grind off all the little burrs, all the little sharp parts. Very ergonomic, and I can use it all over this letter, every little part of it. It's just able to access everywhere. Very, very useful and versatile tool. So let me show you how we use this. Oh yes, one other thing as well. Not only am I going to get inside here to take off the burr, I can also use it at an angle here as well to, again, take off the sharp edge of this letter, make it all nice and smooth. Right, let me show you how that works. Okay, that's got all of the burrs off there now, off the R. So what we can do now is we can actually get that surface looking a little bit better by following the same logic as we did with the angle grinder earlier, with the flat disc and the non-woven rapid blend disc. What we can do now is we can use our non-woven coarse belt in our vortex grain as well, again with that extra bit of cutting power, just to give us a nice finish on there. Just bear with me, I'm just going to unplug that machine before I put the belt on. Not easy items to get on a machine when you have gloves on your hand. Not so ergonomic. Let's put that in. Safety guard back into place. And put the tension back on again. Okay. Right, let's plug him back into the power and repeat the same again and just blend the scratch that we left from the R929 ceramic belt. Okay, so let's have a look at that now. Now that's feeling, again, really, really smooth when compared to the other products before. Before we did this, it's now really nice to touch the round, a nice round edge on there. I can't feel any undulations or scratches or horribleness or burrs or swarf with my fingers. It's really smooth, really nice and blended. Okay, so the last application we're going to be doing today is, again, I'm going to concentrate on the R and the O. With our Norton logo, we have a lot of angles on these letters. That's stop in a sharp corner, like on the T, lots of sharp corners on here. But the R and the O have some radius corners. Okay, so you can see on the O here, we have 4 corners that we've got to do. And on the R, I've actually already ground one of these corners down to the radius to match the logo. So you see the radius here that we've got. That was previously exactly the same as the T here. So, it was cut at an angle, should I say, because I had to leave the material in here instead of cutting it at this normal angle we would, so I can grind it later with a product to get this nice radius we have here. So I'm going to repeat this application on the O. So we've got the same thing going on in the O. We've got the nice straight line coming down here, and then we've got this cut at 45 degree, where I now need to put in a radius the same as we have done on the R. So I'm going to show you how you can do that on an internal area such as this. And that is using one of these. Okay, so this is a straight shaft machine, and on the straight shaft machine, I'm using the Carbide Burr Extreme product on here. Because I've got quite a bit of cutting to do, I want a product that's going to get this done as quick as possible. So I'm going to use the fast cutting Extreme Burr on here just to get it done as quickly and as comfortably as possible. Now I've opted for the shape, a tree for this, to be honest with you, because there are many, many different shapes of Carbide Burr that are out there. But I like the tree because we've got various different geometries on here that I can use. It's a lot smaller on the tip. Okay, so a lot smaller on the tip when I want to grind something. Smaller, which we've got a lot of that here, but it gets bigger as it goes up the shaft here, and we've got a nice big area where I can get a perfect radius with that tree. So you could say we could use a cylinder on this. A cylinder may be useful as well, but I like the versatility of a tree when you've got lots of different angles like that, and even little corners like this here I've got to get. It's perfect to use something that's got some different geometries on there. Okay, so let's get this plugged into the pneumatic air supply. Okay, pop him in there. A little tip as well, when you're using tungsten carbide burrs, they're really good products to use, but what they do is create a lot of chips of metal or swarf. Okay, so this is not really an abrasive, this is a cutting tool essentially. So you're going to create lots of extremely sharp tips. My tip for you when you're doing this is make sure you're suited up, so there's nowhere for the chips to go inside your clothing. But also make sure you've got proper boots on and your trousers are over the top of the boots as well, because otherwise all of the chips are falling down immediately into your shoes, and it'll cause you an issue later on. It's worse than a stone in your shoe, trust me. So make sure your trousers are covering your shoes when you're using a tungsten carbide burr. Okay, so again, nice and fast tool here. It's about 25,000 RPM, a little bit slow for a burr. I would like a machine faster, but should get the job done perfectly. Just let the burr do the work. Don't put too much pressure on there. And let's see how we get on. Okay, so let's have a look at that. As you can see, that's got us a nice radius on there now. I don't think we need to do any more than that, except polish that up, maybe just deburr that a little bit with a file belt machine. But that's got us a nice radius on our O, instead of the sharp edge that we've got, or the sharp corner we've got on all of the other letters. So yeah, it does a really nice job at getting that radius off very well. The only other product I've got to show you here today is our handy roll. Okay, so where would you use something like this? This handy roll. It's a flexible piece of abrasive we have in front of us here today. Well, there's always going to be some places in an item like this where you cannot get with a tool, such as the file belt machine or even the straight shaft machine. There's some areas that we can't quite get into to deburr, and that's generally in the corners of items. So we just can't quite achieve, we just can't quite get that square tool in there. So what we use, you could either use a metal hand file, even in this. I know it's a manual application, but you can use a metal hand file, or you can use something like this flexible abrasive, so a handy roll abrasive, and we could just simply use that action there. Okay, so that gives us a nice bit of cut and a good finish. It's going to take off the burrs, round the edges very easily by just pulling this back and forth in this area, because I cannot get into this edge with a tool. It just won't quite reach the corner due to the shape of the tool. It will not get in, but with a handy roll I can get right into that corner easily and take off whatever swarf, burr or extra material I want to remove. And if you can see carefully, once I pull this away, we've also managed to round the edge as well. So you see that shiny part of that line there? That means we've got a nice refined and rounded edge on there, so no sharp edges. We get good paint adhesion and a good safe product to use. Okay, so that's where Norton Handy Roll comes in. You can't do everything with an automated method or a tool. Some things you still have to do manually, because that's just the way it is. Okay. All right, so just a quick reminder about the Q&A session that we have at the end of this show. If you've got any questions about the products demonstration you've seen here today on our live builds, please pop them on the chat, because we'll be coming to that very, very shortly. Okay, so let's just have a very, very quick recap of the products we've had here today and the different applications. So the heavy deburring and the sharp edge removal or edge breaking, I can only recommend a flat disc for this application. It will withstand a lot of abuse because it's a multi-layer product, and it will last a long time. It's got a slight bit of give to it, so it's not going to dig in too much when you're using the product. So for heavy deburring and sharp edge removal, it's the perfect product for that, without a doubt. If we're smoothing the scratch that's left from the flat disc, or deburring on a flat surface such as we've got here around the letters, again, I can only recommend our Vortex Rapid Blend product here. So it's aggressive enough to remove the small amount of material, and it'll still give us a very nice finish that is good for the next steps after that. For the internal deburring, it would be our file belt system with our 929 file belt material. Again, it can get into access areas which you cannot do with any other tool, remove material very quickly and give us quite a reasonable finish, and also break the edges. Followed up by our Vortex Rapid Prep belt, just again to blend off the scratch that's left behind from our R929 P60 belts. Again, giving us a really good finish. And for our internal radiusing, there's no better product than a tungsten carbide burr that we showed you on the machine today. Really quick and efficient at doing the radiuses. It's quite controllable, and gives us quite a nice finish, to be honest with you, as well, which we can then quickly go over with our non-woven belt as well, just to polish that up. Okay, so that's a quick recap of the products we've used today. I know there were quite a few that we've had in the last half an hour, and I know I've run over a little bit as well, as normal. But so just it's a quick message for what I'm going to do in the next month, because we have another live stream on the 12th of July. And before this live stream, I've got to do quite a bit of prep work on this. I've got to continue the deburring across it, both front and backside of this sheet of material. So quite a bit of material, quite a bit of work to do on deburring this sheet and getting all these radiuses in there. I'm also going to weld on the back of this sign a big piece of angle iron as well that you can see in front of you here. Now we're going to put that on the back of here so we can actually mount this product onto a wall later on. So that's a big job to do, is to get that welded on the back of this sheet. I'm also, very importantly, all of the overcuts that we see here on here, where the grinding disc, or sorry, the cutting disc went a little bit too far. I'm going to be filling them full of weld. So they're, putting the material back in, if you like. So yeah, you can see it on the O here. There's quite a lot of overcutting on there, so there's a bit of work to do. And that brings us to what our next episode is on the 12th of July, which is going to be weld removal and cleaning. So all of the weld I'm going to put in here over the next month, we're going to be showing you how you can bring that down to a nice flat finish so you never actually knew it was there in the first place. That's the whole idea of it. So weld removal and cleaning on the 12th of July. I hope you guys can join us. Okay. Right, Martin, I think we're at the end of the stream now, and it's time for the Q&A session, right?
It is indeed, Paul. Those products made that job look very easy.
No, it's me that makes it look easy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay, well, congratulations to you, Paul.
No, I mean, it's a combination, of course. Yeah, the products are perfect for this kind of job. And it's not an easy job, especially with as many internal areas as we've got here to do. It's still going to be time consuming, of course. There's a lot of work to do here, but the right product, it just gets you there quicker and saves you a lot of work in the long run. But yes, Martin. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, we've got a number actually. Can I use the same flap disc on carbon and stainless steel?
Yeah, good question. That with our Norton Quantum, yes, you can, and the reason for that is because it has our what we call our supersize layer on here, our top size on there. So if you look at the disc, you can see the flaps of abrasive are actually how can I say, they're not shiny. All right, they are like a matte finish. Now, when you have a flat disc with a abrasive product and a matte finish, it means it has a top size layer on there, which is a cooling layer that you can use on stainless steel without getting any burn. So it just helps you, lubricates the surface and evaporates away and gives you a nice cool grind on stainless. And of course, you can use that on the carbon steel, no problem at all. So yeah, very versatile product for both materials. Good question.
Next one, Paul, is how long did it take you to cut out all the letters? Now, I know the answer to this, but I want to hear what answer you're going to give.
Yeah, it was 20 minutes. Something. No, it wasn't 20 minutes at all. It was quite a while to do. And the main thing is, I'm not doing this every day. This is a real bespoke item, so I have to be super careful as well, because one wrong cut, Martin, which you may notice over here.
No, I'm afraid I can't.
Okay, I could admit to my mistakes. One wrong cut, you make a mess. So over here, I've gone through too far. Okay, so I've gone right through the material, and I've kind of mutilated our O a little bit. So that's going to give me, again, just because I did the wrong cut, that's going to give me a load more work to do this next month, welding that back into place. So I had to be very careful when I was cutting this out. It took a long time. I would say we were probably a day, I would say, in total, with a few tea breaks in there as well, of course.
And a very enjoyable day it was as well, Paul.
Yes, Martin was with me too. He was very, very instrumental in the production of this sheet, weren't you, Martin?
Yes, yeah. I mean, pretty much impossible to have done without me, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Yes, agreed.
Moving quickly on.
Thank you.
We got a question, actually, just not particularly about the process, but more about flap discs.
Yeah.
Question is, let me find it again. My flap discs always seem to wear out really quickly. How can I get more life out of them?
Okay. Normally, if your flap disc is wearing out quickly, maybe you're not using the correct product for the job for a start. Or you may be looking at using a grinding disc instead. If you're trying to grind off huge, big plasma cutting edges or something like that, then maybe you should be looking at a grinding disc instead of a flat disc. But there are so many flat discs out there in the market, and there's so many different qualities of flat disc out there in the market, and that's probably the main reason for your disc not wearing away too quickly. You pay what you get. If you buy a cheap one, it'll wear away quickly. If you're on hard to grind materials such as stainless steel or some carbon steels as well, if you're not using a ceramic grade, it will of course wear away quicker. So if you are using a zirconia or even an aluminium oxide flat disc and it's wearing away, try and upgrade your flat disc to a better quality full ceramic one, such as we have here at our Norton Quantum. I'm sure you'll find a big difference.
And we got one more question, and it's about the rapid prep material. You know, the one that you use on the belts.
The belts, yeah.
Yeah. Does that? The question is, does that come in discs for angle grinders?
Oh, good question. Yeah. Yes, of course it does. I mean, we showed one of these on the previous episode when we were blending the surface of this steel. this is the same material. There's a slight difference in the backing because on this material, this is what we call our XF material, so extra flexible material. And that's because it's designed for file belts, because we want it to flex, okay? With our rapid prep that we design for angle grinders, we have our LF material, so our low flex material. Because it's designed to run around at 12,000 RPM on an angle grinder, it needs to be tougher, it needs to be stronger to be able to withstand that. And that's designed specifically for discs for surface conditioning. So yeah, you can in all the different grades, from coarse, extra coarse, all the way down to very fine. Yeah.
We got just one more question, Paul.
One more's come in.
We've got time to squeeze it in. Is that okay?
Yes. It's nearly break time, but we can have another question, Martin. Why not?
Okay. Well, it's actually from your mum.
Mum.
She's asked, when can she have a metal splashback back that you've taken from a kitchen?
That's going to be a difficult one, isn't it, Mother? Yes, this was behind my mum's cooker in the kitchen, this sheet of steel. So I guess the answer is going to be soon-ish, but it may be slightly adapted, shall we say.
That's the lot for the questions, Paul.
All right. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us here on today's Norton Builds. Hope you can join us next month. And if you've missed any of the previous episodes, you can catch them up on our website. So please have a look at those. Lots of work for me to do this next month. Martin's going to be helping me. But from us here at Norton Live Builds, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.